Right.
So we're just part of this discussion.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Let's get started then. Okay, so the first step to the problem solving process is to define the problem, and that's knowing what we're being asked to do. I believe everybody's pretty clear on that, right? I will do that. The president of a third world country has come to this high school, and he asked the principal to show him what a day of an average high school student looks like, and the principal has narrowed it down to the 5 students set in front of you, and our job is to figure out which student would best represent an average high school student. So that's what we're supposed to do, and that's what we're being asked to do. Moving on to the next step, establishing criteria. What standards should we use to describe, quote, average teenager? Does anybody have any ideas for that? I mean, my first thing would be, can't be someone like, whoa, really good at everything. You need to be someone that's more.
Because, like, even if they don't have great grades, like, half the kids drop out of high school in the first place. So.
Any other?
I think that it would probably be someone who doesn't, like, get into a lot of trouble, someone who's not, like, a lot lower.
But they also don't, like aren't, like, super involved in, like, the school.
Maybe someone too who has at least some activities that are common to a lot of high school students. Like, maybe not every high school student does those things, but quite a few do.
So, not someone amazing, that was our first one, and then you guys said, but it's someone that doesn't get in a lot of trouble, and then Dad said, involved in activities that are common with high school students. Okay, so that now that we've established our criteria, we can move on to the next step, which is analyzing the problem. What problems could arise when average students meet a high-ranking political figure? I think I'll start this off. I think you'd want to make sure you have a polite person that knows how to respect a very high-ranking person.
Someone, like, in this one, it says, like, self-confident, like, and, like, he seemed like he would be a good, like, Jacob Jones, like, someone who can talk to people easily.
Yeah,
Someone who's
like,
more,
confident, make good eye contact, you know.
But if you put someone who's, like, shy and, like, really introverted or whatever, then they might not want to, like, talk as much.
So what problems could arise, they're really shy, then it could be very awkward if there's not much conversation between the leader and the student.
and also the leader would not be able to get a full taste of the full day that a high school student goes to if there's not a lot of communication.
Another problem could be if they're too crazy or wild, that it could be embarrassing situations.
Right.
Wouldn't reflect the school positively.
Yeah.
So we can watch out for those things when we start narrowing down these 5 down to our final choice. So that brings us to.
I had one more.
Oh, sorry.
Just if they start talking about something that's really odd to the culture of the president, that he could be confused, So I think if the person has interests that are so, unique that they're not understandable by someone else, that might be an awkward situation.
Does anybody else have anything for that step? All right, moving on to the 4th step. Suggesting possible solutions, we need to narrow down to 2 students who might work for this situation. So do you guys have any way you want to approach that?
Eliminate Lynn Cho, because first of all, she was very, very nervous about talking to people. She's an A+ student, and she's accepted at Harvard, Yale, and she's a minor in fact.
So that would make her far above
Far
average.
exceeding. Plus, I think the introvert part, very nervous about talking to people she doesn't know, would not be good for her.
I also think that we could eliminate Bahir because always fighting to change school policy and got suspended for a fight, so they are obviously getting into a lot of trouble, so it wouldn't reflect in the school very well, and they
Plus,
might not work well with the leader.
Yeah, plus he's like always doing extra stuff, like, which,
Although always fighting to change school policy doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing.
Yeah, it's for the better.
That's true. I guess I was just looking at the fight due, we're suspended for a fight.
Yeah.
Which is true. That is
but
very
that's
true.
due to his parents' divorce, so that's.
Yeah, but that might be an issue too though, because if he's not gonna do well under in a situation that there's probably gonna be some pressure, because that's gonna be a little intimidating no matter who you are. If he doesn't do well in high pressure situations and that at least more than once, no, I guess at least once was suspended for fighting, like that may not be the best person to put it in a high pressure situation.
Very true.
Yeah.
But he also does like debates, so.
That's
that
true.
also-
And like Dad said, debate is definitely present in high school, but it's not very common amongst the majority of students in high school. So,
I think we should eliminate him.
I think Chloe would be a good candidate.
Mhm.
It sounds like, since she's well liked by everyone, she's probably good at talking to people.
definitely. And then she's active in the theater, which is more of a popular activity in school, and she's captain of the drill team, so she participates in different kinds of activities at
Yeah,
school, so
she's
she's very,
like
well-rounded.
not-
wide variety of,
Exactly.
Yeah, but
like
she's
kind
not
of both
too,
ends of the spectrum.
she's not like too like great, like C student, like
Just kind of
she's
average.
pretty average, and then like going to local college.
I think Jacob would be a good candidate because he's well liked by both students and teachers. By saying that he's well liked by teachers, it means he's well liked by someone higher than him, and means somebody who most likely respects them as people.
Mhm.
And also, his starting a recycling project shows that he's interested in helping out his school and advancing them in ways that can actually help the school and win it.
Mhm.
That shows good motives.
I like him too. My only hesitation with Jacob was plans to take him to a recycling center. It's not a very common activity for high school students.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't necessarily eliminate him. That's the only thing that.
What
That's
about
very
the fact that he wears earrings?
I think that's fine.
I'm just kidding.
I think that Chloe is a better candidate than Jada, because, like, on one of the points it says considered an overachiever, so obviously, like, whoever created this, either a student or a teacher, considers her an overachiever, which is, kind of gives off a negative connotation, so she might not get along well with, certain people,
Mhm.
so.
And like she's like the dyslexia, like, and she's like a great artist. Like most kids, like they have like.
Most kids don't have to go through dyslexia. That would make her a standout. Not necessarily in a bad way. I mean, she obviously has found her place and overcame.
I kind of liked that
Yeah.
about her, but I didn't know if, spending time in an art gallery was a great, average high school student thing either, so.
Yeah,
But
So I think most of us seem to like Chloe
Chloe.
and Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be her too. I think everybody would.
And I think what we talked about at the beginning of average student, not being too far on one end of the spectrum, that kind of fits both of those.
I agree.
But like I don't like we said like average, but there's no students here who are really below average.
Yeah, that's true.
So like we basically choose like the closest to average at this
Mhm.
point.
So can we all agree on Chloe and Jacob then?
Yes.
All right, the next step would be evaluate each solution and select the best one. How are we going to decide which to pick between these two? We're just gonna, what do you guys think we should do with that?
I think we should like discuss it a little bit more and then take a vote.
Mhm.
I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I liked Dad's point earlier when he said, you know, because this is all about like an average day in the life of a high schooler, and you know where the leader goes is pretty important place. So I think that the location for Chloe is better. Like plans to invite the leader to a football game. I think that's more of a, because a lot of students go to football games. I think that's more of an average student kind of thing, more so than a recycling center.
Yes, it's very true.
I agree with that, because at the football game, they can meet some other students too.
Right.
And so they would, you know, because you don't want to eliminate all the other types of students, and yeah, I think that would be a good cross-section of everyone.
Plus, like, also, like you said earlier, well liked by everyone, she's like social, so that she has good social skills, so that
Right.
she'll be able to talk and most likely be more comfortable than the other candidates. But Jacob is also like,
Well liked by both
Students and teachers.
but there's other things that are less.
Yeah, and there's like, if Chloe's well liked by everyone, like at football games, there's also, you know, like volunteers and parents and stuff. So it's not necessarily just students and teachers, so Chloe would be able to interact probably with maybe a few more people than Jacob.
It's very true. Does anybody else have any points they'd like to add? So should we take our vote then?
Yeah.
Sure.
All in favor of Jacob, raise your hand.
I usually am Team Jacob, but not tonight.
Everybody in favor of Chloe? I think we have all come to a unanimous consensus here. And the final step, thank you. The final step is suggesting ways for testing or carrying out the solution. How can we test the individuals to make sure they're the correct person for the job?
Like a mock.
Oh, mock interview.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like have someone like, maybe like a person in power, but maybe who's, you know, not necessarily a leader, but someone who would kind of take the place of that leader in order for Chloe to try it out and see how it goes.
You could, the mayor or something, because it's a pretty big deal. They're different, that's why it's kind of
Yeah,
used.
I actually thought of the same thing, maybe the mayor, or somebody that's fairly important, so that if there's any nervousness, the student's gonna feel it with the mayor, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, and like the city would like acknowledge the fact that very little precedent is coming to high schools.
Okay. That's a very good point.
I think,
What was it, testing or carrying out the solution?
How can you test the individuals to make sure they're the right person? I mean, that's pretty much,
Yeah.
that'd be, that'd be the best
That would be
thing.
the
I'm not
best
sure if you
way.
have any other ideas for that.
We could also have like maybe assign someone in each of her classes or at the football game to, you know, kind of like observe how she does and, you know, maybe report back to someone.
Mhm.
See.
That's a good idea.
Possibly, maybe teachers
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah, teachers, yeah, or peers.
That's a good idea.
Make sure she's well qualified and such.
Yeah. I think
Well.
that's a really good idea.
Maureen, we've decided on Chloe then?
yes.
Chloe Hellman,
Chloe Hellman.
like the man.
Don't want to stop it.
Thank you.
Bring some,
Wait, Chris, don't stop it yet.
Come on, man.
He has to turn that in.